Hello everybody, welcome to the Musicmakers Livestream. Can everybody just confirm that you can see and hear me? Because you guys know what my my track record is like with technology. Yeah, great. Okay, so I am seeing people coming through here. This is cool. Yeah, just let me know that you can see and hear me, everybody. Frank sounds fine. All right, cool. Frank, how does the guitar sound, dude? Can you hear the guitar okay? Bruce? Guitar sounds okay? Yes! All right, we've got crispy audio. Thank you, everybody. Great to see everyone. Okay, if you haven't already posted it, where's everybody from? Let us know. We've got a jam-packed show today, guys and girls. There's so many cool things I'm going to share with you today. We've got a really good list of things to get through. I'm super excited to dive in. But yeah, tell us where everybody's from. Frank's here from Kansas. Awesome. Billy's here, Wigtown, Scotland. Great. Yeah, we don't get enough Scottish people on here, do we? Maybe he was lying low. England played Scotland this week in the football. Maybe. Who else have we got here? Ron's here. Hey, Ron. Ron's here from Detroit. Bruce, enjoying the first cool morning in Brooklyn. Bruce, great to see you again, man. Robert's here from Michigan. Oh, yeah, great. Okay, we've got people from all over. Chicago area, 49 degrees. Otto's here from Brooklyn. Yeah, cool. Okay, great stuff. Everybody, thank you for letting us know. Has anyone got any good news to share before we kick off? I feel like we're drowning in bad news nowadays. Let us know if anyone's got any cool news. Anything been happening? Anybody's life this week they'd like to share? Anyone been to any good gigs? Got any good family news? Let me know if anything's going on. Okay, everybody, before we dive in, I just wanted to. Oh wait, I've got no sound from the guitar. No sound from the guitar. It's coming through really hot here. Let's try that again. Can you guys not hear that at all? Let me know and I'll switch to the acoustic if so. You can't hear the guitar. What the hell? Let me drive it a bit more and see if you can hear it now. Okay, sorry everybody, no sound from the guitar. I spent ages setting it up. I sound tested it, everything worked perfectly. But for some reason when we go live, that's not coming through. Okay, no worries everybody, we will switch over to the acoustic and I'll figure out what's happening with this streaming software for next week. No worries at all. Yes, so everybody, we've got loads of stuff to get through today. Adam's not joining us today, unfortunately, but he will hopefully be back with us next week. So I'm flying solo. We've got so much cool stuff to get through. But before we dive in, I just want to let everybody know that our new membership program is open and it's awesome. If you check the link in the comment, I've just put in there in the comments, that will show you, that will take you through to the sign up page for our membership. If you sign up to become an NGA member, you get your own free customized guitar learning plan. If there's any NGA members here on the YouTube live stream, please let people know in the chat. You know, it's called Guitar Metrics. It's very cool. It's a learning platform that gives you a personalized guitar learning plan. And of course, for your membership fee, you also get access to all of the NGA courses and our members live stream, which is a bit more interactive than this one, I think. And also you get access to our members forum, which is amazing. So many cool, helpful people in there. So yeah, if you want to become an NGA member, if you like what we do, click the link in the description. All right, let's dive in, everybody. So a few things that I wanted to run through this week. First of all, if anyone's got any questions, please post them in the chat here. We've also had questions that people have submitted prior to the live stream, so we'll run through those also. But feel free to just drop your questions here in the chat. If there's anything that you want us to ask at any time, don't feel like you need to wait to a specific moment. If you've got a question, just chuck it in and I will do my best to help you out. Oh, hey, here we go. Bruce says he's an NGA member. It's a great platform. Thank you, Bruce. Mike said it's well worth it. Yes, I agree, Michael. It is. Yeah, we should put the prices up, actually. It's too cheap. Larry, thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your comments there. Brad, thank you, mate. Really appreciate that, everybody. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so let's dive in. There's so much to get through this week. I'm super excited. All right, so listen, we're going to begin this week. I wanted to share with you a bit of gear. So we've got this week, we've got sort of like a piece of gear, we've got some gadgets, we've got an artist of the week, we've got songs of the week, we've got some chord tips, lead tips. We're going to speak about inversions. I'm going to show you a cool tapping trick that you can do. We're going to talk about CAGED system shapes. I'm even going to share a very cool musical film with you. So there's a load of cool stuff here to get through. Really, really excited to share this with you all. So let's begin with a piece of gear. This is what I wanted to speak to you about this week. Now, unfortunately, you can't hear it. Just super annoying because it sounds very cool. But this is a PRS guitar, right? So just very quickly, just want to let you guys know, for anybody who maybe doesn't know, the guitar world is kind of dominated by two players, and that is Gibson and Fender. And those two companies between them have the lion's share of the guitar sort of, marketplace, I guess. Gibson's market share, I think, is about 37 or 36. Fender's is about 31, 32, somewhere around about there. And then everybody else is sort of fighting for everything else. Now, of course, Gibson have made some legendary guitars, the Les Paul being probably the most famous one, the 335. Fender have made, again, iconic guitars, the Stratocaster, the Telecaster, and so on. But of course, as cool as those guitars are, they haven't changed much since like the 1950s or something. PRS guitars are very different. And I think they play better and worse. PRS guitars, in my opinion, are kind of perfect. The guitars are so easy to play. Maybe too easy to play. I like the guitar to sort of, fight a little bit. I like it to be, I feel like PRSs are sometimes too smooth. But you guys always see me playing Fenders. You always see me playing Gibsons. So this week, excuse me, I brought my PRS from home. So usually this isn't here in the studio. I play this at home quite a lot. It is a SE, let me switch cameras there. It is an SE2, an S2 SE 24 fret PRS. So what we've got here is we've got two pickups for anybody who doesn't know. Yeah, in some guitars you will just have one of these. When you have two of them together, we call that a humbucker. And what that means is, it means the guitar outputs a stronger signal. It gives you a kind of a thicker tone, and it's almost like the guitar tone is sort of kind of inflated a bit. And it takes gain and overdrive really, really well. If you want a sort of high gain tone, humbuckers, I think, really, really help with that. So I just wanted to let everybody know, just as a little bit of, gear education this week. PRS guitars are very cool, and I think they're great value. This guitar was only, I know it's expensive, but I'll say only, it was about, I'd say about $1,600, about £1,200, which I know that's not cheap, but compared to the likes of, some top of the range, Fenders and Gibsons, like, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 and even higher, it's actually really good value. So if you want to get a guitar that plays really, really well, is super smooth, check out PRS guitars, man. They're really, really cool. I like that. Generally, PRSs have this kind of flame burst finish, which I don't really like. It's a bit 1980s-ish and a bit too, brash for me. But this has got a kind of understated wood grainy effect in it. It's just black. Yeah, I love it. Very cool. So there you go, everybody. PRS guitars. Anybody got any PRS guitars? What do you think? What do you think about them? Janet says she has a PRS hollow body and she really loves it. It's far from the top of the line, but perfect for me. Yeah, they just play really well. They're very different to Fenders and Gibsons, though, I find. Really different. Yeah, you've got it, Bruce. Yeah, the blade switch. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. All right, cool. So that's our gear update of the week. We spoke about PRS. Okay, the next thing I wanted to share with you, let me find it here super quick. We were speaking about this on the members live stream the other day, and that is, I wanted to share with you a cool guitar accessory that's, I'm sure some of you use all the time. For those of you that aren't aware of this, fast fret. Now, fast fret is a little sort of, how do you describe it? It's a little tube, it's got a little lubricant on the end, and you just rub it on your guitar strings, and it sort of conditions your fretboard, and it also makes your strings much easier to play. If you've got an old guitar and you want to show it a bit of love, make it play a bit more nicely, then put some fast fret on it. I was recently playing my Strat, and it got a bit sort of dusty, and it just needed a bit of TLC. So I changed the strings on it, I put some fast fret on it, and it just plays so much nicer. It's like one of those things it makes such a difference. So yeah, everybody, if you're not hip to this, then please get some Fast Fret by GHS. Kind of expensive, some people say, but it lasts for like, you get one of them, it lasts for like 10 years. Super cool, nice way to make your guitar play in a more fluid way. I also like that it reduces string squeak as you're moving around, and also, especially for beginner guitarists, it makes the guitar easier to play. There's less friction on the strings. Fast Fret, people, it's very cool. Yeah, okay, so let's get to a couple of the questions that were submitted before we go any further. Where is it here? Let me find it. Yeah, so these are the questions that were submitted earlier on through Slido. And unfortunately, I couldn't upload them here, so I'm going to just have to read them out. Okay, the first question came from Mandy, and that is, what's the difference between metal, heavy metal, thrash metal, prog rock, etc.? I just call it all rock. Yeah, it's a good point, Mandy. What's the difference between metal, heavy metal, thrash metal, prog rock, etc.? Okay, so I would take prog rock out of that. Prog rock is generally more sort of dense, unusual chord shapes, unusual song structures, a bit more, I guess there's more sort of jazz elements in there, and the songs tend to be much, much longer and experimental in nature. That's how I would, so I wouldn't put prog rock in with those things. I think metal, heavy metal, and thrash metal, they're all much more closely related to me. So when I think of those three descriptions of music, of guitar-based music, I'm thinking of high gain sounds, I'm thinking of, generally fast tempos. And yeah, I guess you could use them all interchangeably, Mandy, couldn't you? Metal, heavy metal, thrash metal. Certainly I would. Does anyone know? Anyone got any ideas? All the amps go to 11 in metal. It's a good point, Bruce. Yeah, nice Spinal Tap reference there for anybody who didn't get that. Yeah, loudness. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do you know what? I don't know. To me, those three genres are the same. Metal, heavy metal, thrash metal. I think they're interchangeable. I hope that helps, Mandy. The next question that we got was from Peter in Plymouth. And Peter said, any suggestions for music writing software? Now, for music writing software, I am not really sure what to suggest for that, Peter. The only software I know that people use for transcription is Guitar Pro. Tends to be the one that I see prevailing. If you need to create some chord boxes or you need to tab out a song, then yeah, Guitar Pro is the one that I see people using most of the time. So this is, yeah, I mean, this is the market leader certainly as far as I know. And, with the people that I've worked with, yeah, like Guitar Pro is. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, Peter. I hope it does, mate. Your question specifically was any suggestions for music writing software. So yeah, I assume you mean by that, like, actual capturing that. If you mean actual, like, music tablature or, like musical staves, like, like classical music transcription, I'm pretty sure Guitar Pro can do that for you. But it doesn't do it on the fly. So you can't like play something and it will just transcribe it for you. But if you need something to make a fast way to create those diagrams, then yeah, give that a try. Antonio says, for software, what about Chordify? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Chordify. I've heard of that. Yeah, okay, I'm just looking at it here. So yeah. Yeah, so it says, think of a song and we've got the chords. I'm not 100% sure what Chordify is, but I will look into that. Thank you for sharing it with us, Antonio. Yeah, anyone got any other ideas? Music writing software. I think Guitar Pro is certainly where I will begin, Peter. I hope that helps. And yeah, check out Chordify, which Antonio has just suggested. I hope that helps, Peter. Okay, Short Brunette Communications. Paul Reed Smith got his start, the most famous music shop in the DC area. Chuck Levins as a teenager. I live only a short skip and a jump from there. No way! Yeah, very cool. I mean, Paul Reed Smith is like, he's a proper guitar like geek, isn't he? He's the geekiest guitar geek in the history of guitar geeks. I can't help but love him whenever I see him interviewed. I just love how much he's into music, and I think his eye for detail and his obsession over every little part of the guitar is ultimately what sort of powered that company to be what it is. And like I say, I'm not a massive fan of PRSs in general, but they do play really, really well. And I think if you get the right one, it is good. I think, if I was going to a desert island and I could only take one guitar with me, it wouldn't be a PRS, but I do very much enjoy playing the PRS I have, and I can see why some people love them. They're just very different to me to, your typical Fenders and Gibsons. Antonio says, and Musescore too. Again, another one I haven't heard of, Antonio, but yeah, thank you, mate. I will check that out too. Musescore. Free music composition and notation software. Okay, yeah, cool. So that looks like something kind of similar to Guitar Pro. It's doing a similar job. Musescore. Let me put this here on the iPad so you guys can see. Yeah. So the world's most popular notation app. Yeah, it looks cool. So it's a Mac OS. I guess you can get it for PC as well. But yeah, hopefully that helps. I feel like we've got 3 good options there for Peter. We've got Guitar Pro, we've got Chordify, and we've got Musescore. Antonio, thank you, mate. You saved the day. Thanks very much. That's great. Okay, and the next question that we had was from Molly. And you know what? I'm just going to put this here. Let me move this over into the chat so you guys can see this. Molly's question was... This was Molly's question. Do you have any tips on progressing overall as a musician and songwriter? Right, okay, so huge question, Molly. It's like such a massive question, so broad. Do you have any tips on progressing overall as a musician, songwriter? Yeah, if I think in broad terms, what I would say is, as a musician, you always want to be pushing into new areas. You always want to be playing with other musicians, speaking to other musicians and getting ideas. You have to experiment, and every single new thing that you do, you retain some of that and it goes into your locker, your toolkit as a musician. So I think in general, as a musician, always be pushing into new areas, be trying new genres, play with different people, explore different songs. I think the main thing for a musician is that you keep growing. I think that's how you become a really well-rounded musician, and you have to be intentional about that. We actually did a members live stream for our NGA members specifically on this, and it was like how to continually make progress as a guitarist. It's one of the very first live streams we did for our members. By the way, all of the NGA live streams, they're all recorded so you can watch them afterwards. They're all available from our members forum. So, if you join, you can, not only can you go back and watch our earlier live streams, but also, just like, if you're at work or something that day, and you can't tune in live, you can watch it after the fact. So yeah, we cover that in huge detail in that live stream. But the TLDR version of that is be intentional and push into new areas at all times. As far as being making progress overall as a songwriter, I think lots of the same things apply, with the one golden rule I think of songwriting is always be writing. And even on the days when you're not feeling it, force it, see what happens, show up, and you got to show up each day, and the songs will come if you give them space to come through, from wherever they come from. Who knows where inspiration comes from and how that works, but you have to make space for it. If you're a fisherman, you've got to be on the water to catch fish. If you're a songwriter, you've got to have your instrument, you've got to have that space in the day. And my other very important tip for songwriters is finish songs. I have got thousands of unfinished songs and, hundreds of finished songs, but you've really got to finish them. And also it's a numbers game, I think, songwriting, because you can, I'd say for every 40 songs I write, one is a real cracker, but for me at least, I've got to write 40 to get a really, really, really good one. And I often think with songs as well, if anybody's just getting started with songwriting, remember the advice of, was it Stephen King? I don't know who it was now, who said, as a writer, you know, if you want to write fiction or be a writer of any kind, you need to operate by the principle that you have 100,000 bad words in your fingers and you've got to get them out. And then the good words start to come. And I think it's the same with songs. You've got to write loads of bad songs before the good ones come. So just do it. Just do it. You just got to keep going. I hope that helps, Molly. Thank you for a great question. I love talking about songwriting. Guys and girls, help me out, right? We're thinking about doing a new course, right? And I'm thinking about we've got two things in mind, and I want your help. Tell me which you would prefer. I'm thinking of doing either a songwriting course, or I'm thinking about doing a rock guitar course, or I'm thinking about doing a course on loopers and loop pedals. Just like super quick now, just let me know in the chat, which one of those three would you be most interested in, right? You can only choose one, all right? Would you be most interested in a songwriting course, a rock guitar course, or a course on how to use a looper and get better at using a looping pedal? Just put it in the chat for us now. It'd be super interesting to see what people are most interested in. Okay, Bruce, looper. Nice, Bruce. Sarah. Yes, Sarah, songwriting course. That's the one I want to do, Sarah. Frank says rock guitar course. All right. John says loopers. Ron says loopers. Morris says loopers. Oh my God. It's a looper explosion. Gary wants loopers. Susan wants loopers. Sarah, I think we're outnumbered. I want to do the songwriting course, but loopers are overwhelmingly winning here, I think. Songwriting, loopers. Yeah, okay. So it's kind of a mix. I would say it looks to me like loopers are clearly in the lead. Matthew with the right answer. All of them. Just give me it all, bro. Whatever you can make, I'm in. Antonio says, all right, yeah, so we got a few songwriters. All right, yeah, good. That's that's good to know. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Sarah's got the answer. Songwriting with loopers. Yeah, good idea. And Bruce says, I can't sing a lick, so I'm going towards melodies. Yeah, but Bruce, you know what, mate? We spoke about this the other week on the members live stream, didn't we? Melodies, you can write them. They can be from you, you know, like your voice, but they can be from your guitar, you know, with a looper over the top of it. You know, one of the cool things about what Adam does, Bruce, again, I think we touched on this recently, but you know, one of the great things about the way Adam writes, which I really love, is like, I'm not a great singer, you know, like I can hold down a tune in the right key, but I really enjoy singing, even though I'm not very good at it. But I enjoy doing it and it feels fun, you know. But like for some musicians, and Adam's one of them, you know, he doesn't use his voice to create the melodies. He uses his guitar. So his music is instrumental, or certainly Adam's music that I've listened to is instrumental. And it sounds so cool, man. You know, it's really epic. And I think that's a different, you know, different avenues open up to you when you're not trying to sing, you know, when you're just composing music, because there's notes that you can't reach the way that you sing, that you can reach on the guitar, you know, so the dynamic range is broader. So I'm thinking about starting to write some instrumental stuff myself. But yeah, Bruce, I mean, certainly using a looper is the absolute best way to do that, mate. You know, lay down some chords, explore with melodies over the top of it. It's so easy, you know, it really is. John says, yeah, make a 5-minute course on loopers and repeat it. Nice, John. Meta. I like that idea. We'll just do a short course and loop it round. Okay, so we're going to move, but actually before we move on, let's answer this question from Gary. Gary said, any ideas on what compression pedal to get? Gary, compression pedals are super cool. They're lots of fun. They can be very, very subtle, or they can make quite an extreme difference to the music that you create. I don't think there's one like winner for that, Gary. I think there's lots of good compression pedals. The one I use is the Boss Compression Sustainer CS3, and I've got no complaints, mate. And I know that is a popular model. So I don't know if you know, if you just want one pedal that you can get started with, the CS3 I think is a great place to begin, because you know, Boss pedals are a bit like tanks. They last for ages. They're very cool, and all maybe not all, but the vast majority of compression pedals, they all work on the same principle. You know, the controls are kind of the same, and they're all, like I say, relatively similar in what they do. I'm sure if you go on like, you know, Sound on Sound or something like that, there'd be very in-depth reviews of the exact, you know, capabilities and the frequency ranges and everything that the compression pedals work at. If you just want to get started with one, mate, I would get the Boss one, just because those pedals are just so cool. They're my go-to pedals as a general rule. If money's tight, then go for one of the TC Electronics pedals. I think they're amazing value. You know, and if you're feeling flush, Gary, you could check out one of the Strymon pedals instead. But I think just that sort of middle of the road, you know, slightly sort of maybe just a little bit above average, I think will be the Boss pedals. If anybody's got a good compression pedal, let us know in the chat. What should Gary get? If anyone's got a compression pedal that they love, drop it here in the chat. I would go with the CS3, just because that's my sort of tried and trusted one. I prefer that to, what was the other one I had? I had a Donna one, but I prefer the Boss one. Gary, I hope that helps. Hope that helps, my friend. All right, next up, I wanted to talk about the artist of the week. So this week I wanted to share with you the Chats. Now, for anybody who hasn't heard of the Chats, they are a punk band from Australia. They are lots and lots of fun. I love the Chats. And basically the elevator pitch for the Chats is, imagine a teenage band that practices in a garage, yeah? But imagine that they became men and just played the same music that they played when they were teenagers. That's basically the Chats. So they're really like, you know, they had this like a breakout song called Smoko by the Chats, and let me just put that in the chat here for you guys. Now be warned, some of the Chat stuff is X-rated. Yeah, they're a punk band. But yeah, if you like, you know, that kind of, you know, punky, that kind of punky sound, the Chats are a lot of fun. It's really, really stripped back, you know, just like basic guitars, you know, kind of funny slice of life observations in the lyrics. Yeah, it's super fun, super fun. So yeah, please check out the Chats. They're really good fun. If you like punk music, I think you can't not like the Chats if you like punk music. If you're not a fan of punk music, then the Chats probably won't be for you. But I am, so I'm down for it. The next track I wanted to share with you is not a song. Oh, sorry, it's not an album or a band. It's a specific track. And I cannot believe that I've made it to be age 45, and I've never listened until very recently to Cortez the Killer by Neil Young. Now, unfortunately, I can't play the system audio here. We can do that on Zoom. I'm going to start doing that in our members live streams, but unfortunately here on StreamYard, it won't share my system audio, although I am going to try and figure that out for next week. There must be a way to do it. I just need to figure out what that is. So I can't play you the track. And also, and by the way, does anybody know, can anybody help me with this? On YouTube, can I play somebody else's music, or does then the video get blocked for copyright reasons? You know, like if I wanted to play like a snippet of this amazing Neil Young song, it's so good. If I wanted to play that on the live stream, you know, does our video get blocked, or are we allowed to use like 5 seconds of it or something? Or if anybody knows what the rules are on YouTube, please let us know. Yeah, Bruce says amazing tune. It really is. It's so good. Steven says Cortez is really, really good. Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it, Steven? It's such a good tune. It's so good. And one of the things I love about that particular track is you can tell. So like, so please, you guys, like, if you don't know this, if you're not familiar with this track, like you have to hear this. Let me pop it there in the chat for you. So it's Cortez the Killer by Neil Young, and it's an amazing song. But one of the things I love about it is you can tell it's from a different era. The song plays for like, I don't know, like half of the song there's no words. It's just this really elongated intro. Like that would never fly in today's stream driven, you know, music industry. I just love that the song just vibes around for like 4 or 5 minutes before anything even before the lyrics come in, and it just creates this amazing mood. It's slightly out of time. The guitar sounds are incredible. It's slightly sloppy, but the song is better for it. You know, it's this loose vibe. It just sounds like a jam, and it's so good. Like, I love that song. Steven says Cortez is 3 chords, E minor, D, and A minor. That's amazing, isn't it? 3 chords, like in that. It's such a cool tune. Yeah, so good. Cool. I'm pleased to see there's some love here for Neil Young. I think. Yeah, so Gary says he thinks it will get copyrighted, which is weird because surely you want people to tell people to listen to your music. I know, it's so weird. You know, you would want the exposure, wouldn't you, for your music? I guess not that Neil Young's struggling for exposure, but just in general. Yeah, I'm going to need to look into that because I want to be able to share the songs with you, and also it'd be fun to like critique the songs, wouldn't it? You know, from a songwriting point of view, it'd be cool to like share the songs here on the stream and then I'll talk about different elements of them. So yeah, in the absence of being able to play the song to you, I think it'd be a bit dull for people who don't know the song if I go on about it for too much longer. I think if I could have played it, that would have been different. So I'll simply say, check out Cortez the Killer by Neil Young. Also, controversial opinion from me here. I've always felt that Neil Young is slightly overrated. Now, don't get me wrong, before anybody tries to like, you know, lynch me, don't get me wrong. I know that Neil Young at his best is amazing. I get that. I know his best songs are incredible. But I always felt he was sort of slightly overrated because I didn't feel like he had the volume of great songs, you know? And it seemed to me like, yeah, some of his hits were amazing, but I never really knew enough about his back catalogue, you know, and I didn't go around broadcasting this opinion because I know that people adore Neil Young. So I never went around, you know, shouting about it, the fact I thought he was overrated. I know he's a brilliant musician. There's no doubt about that. But I'm talking about, you know, in the pantheon of all-time music greats, Neil Young is often mentioned up there, and it never seemed to me like he could hang in the same company, you know, as, I don't know, the Beatles or the Stones or, you know, like, you know, any you know, classic sort of, you know, pop and rock sort of bands you can think of. But I think it's probably on me that I need to do a bit more of a deep dive on Neil Young's back catalogue. And when Captain Andy from our forum, our members forum, posted Cortez the Killer, like, honestly, like, I'm not kidding, that's the best song I've heard in like in a year, maybe in years. I loved it that much. So I think, yeah, so Michael's with me, he says yes, overrated. Yeah, so like, so come on, like, for the people who are here on the call, like, is there a go-to Neil Young album that's maybe got more sort of deep cuts on it? You know, I've got Harvest, you know, Harvest Moon, you know, that type of stuff. You know, but is there a go-to Neil Young album to like, where is the Cortez the Killer stuff? Like, what era is that? Because I know Neil Young played in different bands as well, didn't he? He was in America, and, you know, I know he's been a very versatile musician, and I very much respect the way he's grown and tried, you know, different things over the years. But yeah, if anybody's got any like really cool Neil Young albums or anything, yeah, please drop them here in the chat. That'd be cool to know. Yeah, some of his songs are easy to play. Some of his songs are super hard, man. Crazy Horse Years, that's the core. Yeah, okay, Bruce. Yeah, I'm hearing you, man. Right, that's what I'm gonna get the Crazy Horse Years. Sarah, not a Neil Young fan. Yeah. Yeah, Harvest has got a bunch of great acoustic songs, and just the production of the album is so good. I've got Harvest. Yeah, greatest hits, $5 at Walmart. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, thanks for chipping in there. Yeah, Brad, you're right. There are a lot of Neil Young albums. Hasn't he done something like? It's something crazy, isn't it? Like he's released something like 50 albums or something. I think he has been very prolific in his songwriting. And yeah, Charlie, I admire that about him. His style has changed. I love that, you know, he's always been trying different things and pushing into new areas. Don't get me wrong, there's lots to admire about Neil Young. And like I said, at his best, you know, I think he's as good as anybody. It's more just about how much material has he made, you know. Yeah, great tune, Needle and the Damage Done. I like that one too. It's a bit bleak, but it is an amazing song. You can't argue about that. All right, cool, everybody. Thank you. Decade is a compilation. Yeah, nice, John. Good idea. That's what I need. Yeah, I need like a greatest hits, don't I, or a compilation. I will check that out. Thank you. Robert says, hello from Puerto Rico. Hello. Hello, my friend. I don't think we've ever had anyone from Puerto Rico before on the live stream. Welcome, Robert. All right, everybody, I just want to take a minute here just before we move on to just say, please, if you enjoyed the live stream, please subscribe to the channel. I always forget to say this, and then I regret it afterwards. You know, please, if you enjoy what we do, please subscribe to the channel. Click the subscribe button right now. Let's get our subscriber count up a bit if you're enjoying this. And also, please remember to like the video, because that's how other people find it, apparently. I think that's how the YouTube algorithm works. All right, so listen, I want us to move on. I've got some cool tips to share with you here. Next thing I wanted to speak about was a very cool technique, guitar technique. Well, it's not really a technique. It's actually a bit of music theory, but it's inversions. Right now, an inversion is when we play a chord. We play a chord, but in a different voicing. Okay, so if you see like a C chord down here, if I play a C chord here, that's a C shape that most people are used to seeing. Yeah, let me move the guitar there. There's a C chord. Most people are used to seeing that C chord played that way. Okay, but I can also play a C chord here, can't I? Okay, now if I play just these three here, it's a triad. Yeah, that's an A triad, isn't it? There. Then when I play that, we don't have the root note as the lowest note. Most of the time for the chords that you play on the guitar, the root note, which is the tonal center, is the lowest note that you play. If I play an F chord, yeah, the lowest note is here. Yeah, it's this note here. So generally, whatever note you play that's closest to this string is the root note, generally. And that's how most chords work on the guitar. An inversion is when that's not the case. So remember a major chord, everybody. I'm sure that most of you, or certainly some of you, will know this, but the formula for a major chord is very simple. It has a major, it has a root note, it has a major third, and it has a 5. Okay, and that's the formula for a major chord. And for a minor chord, we have a flat 3 and a 5. Yeah? So this is how we build a major chord. This is how we build a minor chord. There's only 3 notes. Now on the guitar, when we play a major chord, we might play something like this. We might play a C chord. And I'm playing 5 strings there. But even though I'm playing 5 strings, there's only actually 3 notes that are in there. Some of those notes are repeated. If I play a bar chord, let's say I play a C chord up here, I'm playing 6 strings, but there's only 3 notes that are in there. And those 3 notes are the root, the third, and the 5th. Now, an inversion is when we play the same notes, but just in a different order. So we might play the 3, the 1, and the 5. Yeah? Or we might play, we might play the 5, the 1, and the 3. So I hope you guys now know what an inversion is from a theory point of view. It's just a chord where the notes are arranged in a different order. And I wanted to share one of my favorite inversions with you now, just super cool. So if you play any type of A shape bar chord, so let's say you were playing C. Yeah, let's stick with C. So my C note is here, yeah? That's the root note, that's the tonal center of the chord, C. And then down here, I have this bar chord shape that I'm applying, don't I? And then what we have there is we have the root note here. That's our 1 on the diagram that I just showed you. Here we have the 5th, that's our 5. Yeah, and then underneath that we have a root note, again an octave higher. It's also C, that note there. And then at the bottom there we have our 3. That's our 3. And we know that's the 3 because if we flatten it, that turns it into a C minor chord. Yeah, there's only one difference between a major chord and a minor chord, and that's that the minor chord has a flat 3. That's what makes it minor. Yeah, that's why it's a minor chord. So what's really cool is if we take that same shape there, our C chord, But if we choose to play it like this, check this out, watch carefully. I'm going to move this finger away. I'm going to play here, and I'm going to play there. So that is an inversion of C. Now Jimi Hendrix used that inversion all the time. One of the reasons his chords sound different to other guitarists, people always say, nobody can play like Jimi. One of the reasons he sounded so different was that he played lots of inversions, so he was using different chord voicings. So instead of him playing his C chords like this, yeah, he would often play his C chords like this. So yeah, that chord shape there, it looks kind of complicated, but all I'm doing is squishing all 4 strings down and then playing above. Now, one of the coolest things about this is that makes it really easy to get into the minor pentatonic pattern for that chord. So it's a great way to play a chord and then blend in some lead guitar, because our hand's already in the shape where it's ready to go for that. So if we stick with this here, where we're looking at a C chord, but I'm going to play it like this, well, guess what? Here, where my hands already are, that is the minor pentatonic scale that we play over C major. So if we play our C chord like this, Alright, now that's more of an advanced and intermediate to advanced tip. If you're a beginner, don't even worry about this stuff. But if you are an intermediate guitarist, please start playing around with inversions. Experiment with that inversion I just showed you there, and notice how much easier it is to get in and out of your pentatonic patterns that sit around that. Super, super cool, and great to hear a different chord voicing. Yeah, I hope that helps. Anybody here use inversions? Let us know in the chat. What do you think? They're super easy to do on the piano. Much harder to do on the guitar, I think. Much, much harder. Let me know in the chat if you use inversions, which ones you use. Yeah, Bruce says that's how Jimi played. For anybody who doesn't know, Jimi Hendrix played he was a left-handed guitarist, but he would play a right-handed guitar, but he would just flip it over. So instead of restringing, so like his strings were the wrong way round. Is that the right way to put it? He would get a right-handed guitar and turn it over, which meant the strings were upside down for him, which is crazy. But I think that's another reason why he played those inversions. Yeah, I think you're right, Bruce. Sarah, thank you. Thank you. I wasn't sure if you guys would... It's always hard to balance on YouTube on here because we've got people of different ability levels. I don't want to go too advanced or too beginner. You know, we try and cater for everybody. But I'm pleased that you enjoyed learning about inversions. It is a really, really cool technique. Oh, cool. Bruce, I didn't know that. Albert King played the same way. I didn't know that. I didn't even know he was a lefty. To be honest, he's not a guitarist that I know a great deal about. Charlie said, I'm just beginning to experiment with them. It's really fun to explore. I assume Charlie's referring to inversions there. I think there might be a delay on the chat I'm seeing here, everybody. But yeah, inversions are cool, Charlie. Especially if you're a beginner guitarist, then you just want to play the basic chords. You know, you want to be able to play the chords and do them well. But I think once you've mastered basic chords, you do want more. You want something new. You want some new chord voicings. You want to broaden your vocabulary as a musician. And I think inversions are pretty much the way to go, aren't they? You know, if you want to play the same chord in a different way, then you've either got to tune the guitar differently, or use a capo, or use an inversion. And certainly inversions sound so cool, especially as secondary guitar over something else. So if you're playing at home and you're recording yourself into a DAW, or your looper, or whatever it might be, then you might choose to play one guitar in standard chords, and then on the next guitar that you lay over the top of that, you might choose to play that as an inversion. You know, or just, there's a million things you could do. You could just pull out triads or arpeggios or notes from that scale. But if you just want 2 rhythm guitar tracks side by side, maybe hard panned, you know, one left, one right, then a great way to make them sound more interesting and give depth to the recording is to use inversions. If you just play the same thing, it doesn't really add that much, does it? If you're playing the same chords but in different voicings, then you're hearing all kinds of interesting harmonies, and you know it'll work perfectly because of the same chord, just voiced in a different way. Yeah, cool. Stephen's a lefty playing right-handed. Yeah, so Stephen, do you mean you're usually left-handed but you play the guitar right-handed like a right-handed person? Or do you mean you're a lefty that's swapped around a right-handed guitar? Yeah, let us know. All right, next up, everybody, we're going to keep moving here. I've got a very cool tapping trick to show you. Now, yeah, let's use the acoustic because you'll be able to hear that. I wanted to show you this on the PRS because it's way more fun if you've got some gain on there. But let me show you that. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, Stephen. Yeah, cool. Thanks for clarifying that, mate. We don't, do you know what? We always get emails from people like lefties asking us for chord boxes and stuff like that. It's so hard because so many people are right-handed. We tend to just make the stuff that way. Top tip for any lefties that are on here: lots of our left-handed students, if we send out documents that are right-handed, they use a mirror to look at them. It's such a simple solution that I would never have thought of myself. But basically, if you just view the document through a mirror, then hey presto, it reverses them for you. Yeah, just that's such a simple thing. I just never thought of it. Yeah, so I want to show you a tapping trick right now. Tapping is when let's zoom in here. So a cool tapping trick here. If I show you it, maybe I show you it here in G minor instead. I might need to be a bit higher up actually to make this work. I'll do it in A minor. So if you want to tap the guitar, that's when we play something, but we... Can you see that? Yeah, can you see that? Okay, so you get the idea. It's when we play, it's like a hammer-on that we do higher up the neck. So it's better to do this with some gain. Obviously on the acoustic it's harder to do, but if you've got some gain on an electric guitar, the note carries much more cleanly. Yeah, so that's what tapping is. But of course it's hard to know where you can tap if you don't have like encyclopedic knowledge of the fretboard and where the scales sit. So I've got a cool tip for you. So if you are beginning your lead guitar and a minor pentatonic box, and this is your finger here, so let's say you're playing an A minor, then we always come back to the 5th fret, don't we? We play 2 notes on each string and we always come back to the starting position. And that's how we ground ourselves as lead guitarists. So we can play 1 finger per fret. These fingers are going off wandering, but this finger is always there. That's our home base. Now, if you want to know a tap position that will always work, if you just go up 7 frets from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of those notes will work. So again, you've just got like 2 lines there, you know. It's super, super easy. So if you're playing some lead guitar, then if you imagine the bottom of that minor pentatonic pattern, then it's 4 frets up from there. I find that an easier way to do it. Now, of course, if you only ascend and descend the scale, then it doesn't sound that musical. But if you just drop it in for a moment here and there, it's like, oh my God, you look like an absolute guitar hero. And like I say, if you have some gain on there and, you know, drive whatever the amp or effect it is that you're using, you know, that really flies, you know, and it adds some unexpected moments to, you know, a riff or a solo or whatever it might be. Being able to just drop in a couple of taps like that, it's always cool. You know, it adds some garnish to what you play, and it always sounds fun. Bruce said shades of John Mayer. Yeah, I think John Mayer does do some cool taps. Although the tap that he does, Bruce, I'm not entirely sure, but I've seen him play this where he sort of plays a riff, And then he plays something like this. He'll play something, but then he goes like this. And he plays something with his finger, but he plucks here with his thumb. Can you guys see that okay? So it's like, so it's like he's planting his finger, but then behind his finger, he actually plucks the note with his thumb. I don't really know what he's doing there. So it's like, but instead of, he sort of, it's almost like a harmonic. Does anybody know what that technique is? You know, I've seen a few guitarists doing that, and they never really know what's going on there. You know, like tapping, I get, that's clear. But that thing where people sort of hold their finger and then use their thumb, it's almost like they get some type of harmonic. It's a tiny, tiny detail, but I've seen it quite a few times. Let me know if anybody knows what that is. Okay, and then a couple of the things I wanted to share with you before we wrap up, everybody. Number one, I wanted to say, I've got a parting gift for you this week. So we're going to share like something like a book or a film, or something cool, like, you know, that's, you know, maybe music related or not, at the end of the live stream. So you guys have got, you know, something cool to explore that week. Before we do that, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that National Guitar Academy membership is open. You can become a member there. I just dropped a link in the chat. If you want to become an NGA member, you get your own customized guitar learning plan, access to all of our video courses, access to our forum, access to our song library. It's very, very cool. Really proud of the membership. It's a great community. Please check it out. You can sign up using that link there and get a 50% discount versus the standard price. I don't know how long we're going to keep this going for. So yeah, if you're interested, please grab it now while it's there. And yeah, I wanted to share with you two final tips. Number one, people keep asking us about the CAGED system. We keep getting emails about this, even though we've covered it a couple of times. So I just wanted to show you all very quickly. The CAGED system is very, very simple. It is a way of finding the movable shapes on the guitar. All right, on the guitar, we have 5 movable shapes. We have a C shape, an A shape, a G shape, an E shape, and a D shape. And this together we use as a mnemonic, which we call CAGED. Okay, so we have 5 movable shapes. What that means is these are chord positions that can be moved. So if we play an A chord here, yeah, there's an A chord, but it's movable. It's one of our 5 movable shapes. So if I boost that up 2 frets, put a bar behind it, it's not A anymore, it's B. All right, so we've gone from A to B. If we keep going, it goes C, D, E, F, G, and so on. It's a movable shape. Now for CAGED, if we start off playing here with C, I just want to show you how they all link. Where one ends, the next one begins. Here's our C chord. Guess what? This is where the next shape begins. Now we've gone to A. This is an A shape, but the chord is still C. If I go up to here and play a G chord, see, this is the top of a G chord. That chord is C. If I begin there where that one ends and play an E shape, that chord is C, even though I'm using an E shape here. And if I go all the way up there and play a D shape, then that chord is also C. So what I just showed you very quickly was I showed you the 5 movable shapes of the guitar. I showed you a C shape, and then when we moved up one above that, we played an A chord shape, but we played it where this shape ended. So all of these chords that I just played, they were all C chords, but I just showed you them in 5 different positions. So I just showed you how to play a C chord in 5 different places on the neck using the 5 different chord shapes. And that works for everything. It doesn't just work for C. I just began on C because that was the most logical place to begin, because the mnemonic we use begins with C, CAGED. But that works for all chords. So if you want to move around the guitar neck, try different chord voicings. Always useful to think of those 5. If you've got a chord, you want to play it in a different place for some reason. Maybe the chord before is really far away and you don't want to have to move all the way down the neck. Maybe you just want a different type of chord voicing. Then think of the CAGED system in your mind, because you can always use that to, you know, okay, how does an A shape version of this sound? How does a G shape? How does a D shape? And so on. I hope that's useful. CAGED is a very cool concept. We get lots of emails about it. I hope that helps. Yeah. Thank you. Great clarification of this. Great. Thank you. I'm pleased that that was useful for you just to see it in that way. And lastly, the last thing I wanted to leave you with everybody today was, for our parting gift this week, was a musical, sorry, not a musical, it was a film recommendation of a music film. And the film is called Whiplash. Now, you may have heard me mention this before, but I absolutely love this film. So here it is. The film is called Whiplash. And like that guy there, J.K. Simmons, I think he's brilliant in everything he's in, that guy. Like, he's just awesome, isn't he? Every single film he's in, he's brilliant. This is basically a movie about a guy who goes to jazz school, and he's a drummer, and it's just a great tale. I won't ruin it for you. I'll just say, look, it's a great tale. If you've got even a passing interest in music, you will adore this film. It's so interesting to see a peek into that jazz world, and also just to see how brutal the teacher treats him. I've got a friend that went to jazz school, and he said it really was like that. He said his teacher used to throw things at him while he was drumming. Yeah, like if you're interested in music, and you must be if you're here on this live stream, and you haven't watched Whiplash, watch it tonight. You'll absolutely love it. It's such a cool film. So many great like moments and ideas, and as a musician, you'll get so much more out of it as well, because you'll know more about what's happening. Frank says Whiplash is great. Yeah, it is. It's a really, really entertaining film. I think that J.K. Simmons, I mean, he just lights the film up, doesn't he? I don't know if he got an Oscar for it or if he was nominated, but like, wow. I mean, his performance in that is amazing. Sarah says, mind blown. I assume you're referring to the CAGED stuff, Sarah, that we spoke about before. Yeah, I mean, we could have done the whole live stream on the CAGED system, Sarah. I just wanted to whiz through it just to show you guys how one chord links up to the next. If you're confused by that, Sarah, and it sounds like you are, then don't worry about any of that stuff. You know, if you're a beginner, all you really need to learn are your, you know, if you're a total beginner, don't worry about movable shapes at all. But if you are, you know, an intermediate guitarist, then all you really need are your A and your E shapes. And generally, we just call them bar chords. So when people are playing bar chords and learning bar chords, they don't realize it, but actually what they're learning is A and E movable chords. And there are 3 other movable chords, C, G, and D. So I hope that clarifies things. If you're a beginner, don't worry about any of that stuff. Just learn open chords. If you're an intermediate guitarist, learn bar chords, movable E and movable A's. If you're more of an intermediate advanced player, then you need to know, okay, A's and E's aren't the only movable shapes. We've got G's, C's, and D's as well. More advanced stuff, and you use them a lot less, but they're there and they sound super cool in the right moment. Yeah, Frank, absolutely. Frank nailed it. CAGED, E and A are the easiest to use. Exactly. And for a lot of guitarists, Frank, they never learn anything else, you know? E's and A's are fine, you know, you'll use them 95, 99% of the time. I always think it's good to know the C's, G's, and D's, mainly for additional bits of guitar, secondary guitar, lead guitar. It's very useful for that, but you can absolutely get by with just the E's and the A's. Yeah, Sarah, good. Okay, well, hopefully it was CAGED that blew your mind. Well, hopefully that clarified things for you, Sarah. Yeah, okay, Bruce has got to get going. All the best. Check out Standing in the Shadows of Motown. Okay, maybe that's another film recommendation from Bruce. I will check that out. I love Motown music. I will definitely check that out. Everybody, I hope you have enjoyed the live stream today. If you have, please subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to increase our subscriber count. We're trying to get better at YouTube and social media in general. I hope you've enjoyed today. I love meeting with you all and hanging out like this. I always learn some new things from you guys. Always pick up some interesting tips from you. I hope you are also getting that from us. And yeah, thank you very much. Frank, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. This live stream is outstanding. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, we're going to keep going with it, I think. We'll keep going. We'll see where it leads. Everybody, thank you very much. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. I really, really do. And I'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.